90.3 WHPC. This show will be available as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker.com. If you have any comments, email them to us at any time at WHPC@ncc.edu. Thank you for listening to the Boomer Buzz here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to the Boomer Buzz, the show that focuses on issues of interest to the 60 and over crowd, both here on Long Island and across the country. Listen as experts keep you informed about the latest health solutions, financial options, and lifestyle choices, both for senior citizens and their families. Now, here are the hosts of the Boomer Buzz, Dr. Lamarr Stanford and Patricia Stanford, Corporate Wellness Consultant, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome to the Boomer Buzz, where each week we'll give you the buzz on how to stay healthy, wealthy, and wise after the age of 60.
Yeah, today we're speaking with Dr. Joel Fuhrman MD, who is a regular guest on national TV, a best-selling author, and is an authority on longevity using proper dietary principles, and I think that's his forte.
Welcome to the show, Dr. Fuhrman. It's an honor to have you on with us today.
Now, well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Looking forward to it.
Oh, yes. First of all, Dr. Fuhrman, tell us something about how you developed your dietary principles way back when, because you've been doing this for a while, haven't you?
That's right. I've been a physician now for more than 30 years, and which I'm tremendously grateful for the opportunity I've had to work with so many people and transform their lives and have them get off their blood pressure medication and get rid of their diabetes and not have angioplasty and get rid of their chest pain. So, you know, what I'm saying right now is nutritional excellence is powerful stuff. It really can change a person's destiny and give them back their health and prevent them from becoming a medical tragedy and a life falling apart. So it's really, it's so powerful, and I'm so grateful to have gone into this. And it was my hobby and my interest when I was on the United States World Figure Skating team. I used to be when I was in my teens and 20s, young 20s, I was a competitive figure skater, and I was into nutrition as like a hobby. And when I left that career, my athletic endeavors, I decided to pursue my interest and my passion, which was go to medical school to become a physician specializing in nutrition. So I didn't adopt this once I was ready in medical school or as a physician. I have kind of chose to do this as the reason why I went to medical school to begin with.
Now, I read somewhere that you went on a fasting regime for a while, and it kind of messed up your skating career, didn't it? This is just kind of like a little anecdotal thing. I was just wondering if that was true or not.
That was true. I mean, when I was, I think I was 19 or 20 years old, I was ranked number one in the United States in pair skating at the time, and I had a bad injury and couldn't walk for almost a year. And I fasted to expedite healing, but it didn't work that great, because even though I felt better, I lost so much muscle. I missed the Olympic team. I came in fourth in nationals after that, and then only the top three go to the Olympics. I couldn't get my strength back fast enough, so I missed the 1976 Olympics.
Yeah, everybody looks at figure skating and says, "Oh, it's kind of like dancing." No, that takes a tremendous amount of muscular capability, doesn't it?
Well, in pair skating, you have to lift. I had to lift my sister with one hand over my head, and you have to jump, and you need a lot of physical conditioning and strength. And even though I was building back my strength, I couldn't get back to the highly competitive level I was before I had hurt myself in my injury. So it kind of it was the combination of my injury then with fasting to help to see if that would help kind of knock me out of my Olympic potential, my Olympic opportunity.
Wow, that's too bad. Maybe I could get back to what we're supposed to be talking to you about. In one of your books,
I would have been a doctor, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think people need to know that you were a world-class athlete. You're just not a talking head that has got something going on. But anyway, listen. In one of your, I'm not sure whether it was a TED talk that you were giving or whatever, but you talked about the opostat. It sounded like it was a system within us that regulates when we feel like we've had enough food or something of that nature. Is that I didn't understand that totally. Am I pronouncing that wrong?
Apostat?
Yeah,
apostat.
Apostat.
Yeah,
the apostat. Right.
Yeah,
because how much we eat is dependent on a lot of different biochemical factors. And one of my main messages to people is that when their diet isn't focused enough on micronutrient adequacy, in other words, when your diet is low in micronutrients and you don't have that full spectrum of antioxidants and phytonutrients, you build up more toxins in your tissues like free radicals and other substances that make you feel shaky and weak and headachy and fatigued. So it makes you want to eat more calories just to keep your energy up. In other words, you're forced to eat more food when the nutritional quality of your diet is poor. And that's been reproduced and proven in different studies. And I've published a study about it in the medical journal called Nutrition Journal in 2010. But since that time, there's been other studies showing that when people reduce the quality of what they eat, they have an unrelenting drive to try to consume more calories to make up for it, and then they become overweight. So one of the factors here that we're doing is that we're getting people back connected with the amount of calories they need by improving the nutritional quality of their diet. And then it floods the body with these protective nutrients that also protect cancer, protect against dementia, and protects against inflammation, and enables them to live a life in great health to 100 years old. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying right now is the same thing that slows aging and extends lifespan and prevents disease is the same factor and same diet style that enables you to lose weight and keep it off for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. So that apostat is it's a function of the brain, is it? A lot of people say stomach detention. What's the word I'm looking for? When your stomach swells.
Distension?
Distension. Yeah. That doesn't control appetite. It's this other factor.
No, but I was talking about appetite, but apostat in the hypothalamus is controlled by numerous factors, including butyrate, which is a breakdown product from fiber. In other words, the body turns the resistant starch from beans and the fiber from vegetables. Through bacteria degradation, it turns those carbohydrates into a fat called butyrate. And then butyrate has a negative impact on apostat in the central nervous system. So if your diet is low in fiber, it doesn't turn off the apostat. So it's not just stretch receptors and nutrient receptors, it's also the fact that you're consuming enough fiber that reduces the apostat. I was talking about eating poorly increases your appetite, and these things, the appetite works in conjunction with the apostat to make people become food addicts. And in conjunction with that, then of course, when we take in concentrated calories that flood the body with calories very rapidly, like you eat sugar or maple syrup, you eat bagels and croissants, in other words, you eat high-calorie oil, you eat concentrated calories, it increases dopamine stimulation in the brain. And the dopamine, the same areas of the brain where opiates and where nicotine, so it makes you into wanting to crave and consume more of those concentrated calories. Right. So it's a combination of factors driving the addictive desire to consume extra calories and the withdrawal you get of fatigue and shakiness and withdrawal anxiety people get when they try to stop overeating and stop eating the foods that are causing dopamine stimulation because you become dopamine dependent. So it's complicated. But in understanding all these factors will enable people to get rid of the desire to overeat and get back in touch with the amount of calories they need and control their appetite so they can be healthy for the rest of their life.
I should mention that you had an impact on our family eating habits. About 10 years ago, we saw you on TV and we dropped by your office in New Jersey and bought one of your dietary books, and we love lentil stew that you mentioned in this book. So, hey, you have impacted one family, that's for sure.
So when Dr. Fuhrman, when people say that they're addicted to chocolate or addicted to sugar, because we have a friend that's told us that he's addicted to sugar, is that a reality for these people? Are they truly addicted?
Absolutely. That's kind of like, I'm almost like a food addiction specialist, and people, they really, you'd be amazed that I have a retreat in San Diego where people come and stay for 30 to 90 days, to stay for 1 to 3 months. And it's just like a drug addiction model, because when they first get there, they're going through withdrawal, and they're irritable and they're having trouble, but we put them in a safe, fun environment with delicious food, and we get them off the sugar and the oils and the greasy food and the fried foods, and you could see it's addiction. And you need a time of abstinence, so those foods aren't calling your name. It's the same with people going for drug addiction with cocaine or with tobacco. They need a period of enforced abstinence, and the enforced abstinence in conjunction with giving them the psychological counseling with regard to emotional overeating and the training and also the cooking classes and showing them to make healthy food taste great, we send people home with the tools now and the obstacles removed that impeded them from being able to follow a diet and keep their weight down and be healthy. And we have people that get rid of their heart disease, their chest pains go away, their diabetes melts away, they're no longer on blood pressure medications and cholesterol and drugs, and they're so thrilled to. And so that's one thing. I've always given people advice through the internet and through books, but it's amazing that some people just need extra support. And so what I'm saying is that definitely the more you're addicted, the more you need extra help. And the people that are most addicted don't even know they need help. And they don't even think it's possible for them to change their diet because their addictions are so strong. And they give up and they throw in the towel and they check out and they just resign to eating poorly and staying sick and taking medications. And that's a shame that people don't, because I want people to have hope and the expectation that they can get well. And if they have the right type of advice and guidance, they can do it.
You're listening to The Boomer Buzz on the Voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC, and our guest today is Dr. Joel Fuhrman, speaking on diet and longevity.
Now, Dr. Fuhrman, you talk about micro and macronutrients in our food. Can you maybe tell our audience what you mean by those terms?
Well, the word macro means big.
Right.
And the macronutrients are referring to fat, carbohydrate, and protein, those nutrients that contain calories. And what I'm saying here, and of course the micronutrients refer to vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients that do not contain calories that are so important for normal immune system, protection against cancer and longevity. Phytochemicals protect our stem cells and maintain our telomeres and enable us to live a long life. So it's getting a high phytochemical exposure from colorful plants that can really dictate our longevity. But what I'm saying here is the only proven methodology to slow aging and extend lifespan is moderate caloric restriction in the context of micronutrient excellence. That means that, and I'm also saying, as we're talking about today, that as you achieve a high micronutrient exposure through the right variety of high nutrient plants like mushrooms and onions and scallions and green vegetables, that enables you to be comfortable eating less calories and desirous of less calories. So you start to instinctually want to eat the right amount of food. So you're no longer, so what I'm saying right now is excess calories shortens your lifespan.
Yeah, that's
and we have to eat a diet with a high micronutrient bang per caloric buck.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've also heard that your BMI, biomass index, that's a key indicator too. If it's too high, you've got some problems. And usually your BMI is high because you've ingested a lot of calories, right? And some of those macro calories, I think, right?
Right. Americans are eating too much fat, too much carbohydrate, and too much protein. For some reason, some people think it's better to eat more protein. Some people think it's better to eat more fat. Everybody. But the bottom line is we have to eat less of all three and get more nutrients in the process. And the exact ratio of the three aren't as important as eating a diet that's richer in nutrients. So, we're talking about here the most proven methodology to not, because we shouldn't be getting cancer and heart disease and diabetes and dementia. These things are outmoded, preventable, and nutritional science has made sufficient advances to enable us to live our life free of the concern for those diseases. We know how to beat it. I always say we've landed the man on the moon already. We know how to win the war on cancer. So the answer is vegetables. But people are looking for a different answer.
But it's interesting. It's really interesting to me that you're a medical doctor and you're saying these things, and yet most medical doctors, I'm sorry to say, do not think that there's a nutritional component to a lot of these diseases. Well,
it's been changing, and the medical doctors don't really generally know more than the public knows. As science emerges and more evidence emerges, the whole population kind of changes, and we're seeing much more change. In the American College of Lifestyle Medicine now has tens of thousands of members of doctors who are using all these lifestyle factors we're talking about in their practice. So it's certainly growing and changing, but change is slow, and you have people that are, you have all different types of people. And some people just are so addicted to their diet, and they're so kind of like addicted to their style of medical practice that they're not, open or receptive to change.
Exactly.
Well, that's
but still, you can't stop the march of this information, and it's generalized further acceptance can't be stopped.
Right.
It's happening all around us.
So we're about halfway through the program. I want to say that I'm Patricia Stanford, along with my husband, Dr. Lamarr Stanford, and our guest today is Dr. Joel Fuhrman MD, speaking on diet and longevity. You're listening to the Boomer Buzz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
90.3 WHPC reminds you that every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you. Meet the grads of life, young adults of unique determination and experience, an ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you're typically looking for, but they're exactly who your company needs. This is talent worth knowing about. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council, gradsoflife.org, and the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Welcome back to the Boomer Buzz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Dr. Lamarr Stanford, along with my wife, Patricia. And our guest today is Dr. Joel Fuhrman MD, who is an authority on longevity and using proper dietary principles. Now, Dr. Fuhrman, I recently had to go through open heart surgery. I wish we would have done this interview before I subjected myself to that, because I remember seeing in one of your presentations on national TV, I think it was, that you said people who have bypass and a lot of these interventions really don't live longer than people who don't have them, who maybe use dietary and other remedies to keep their health in a high state. Is that about correct?
No, it's not correct.
Okay.
They live. It's their people who have these angioplasty and bypass surgery do not live longer than other people who don't have angioplasty and bypass surgery, who don't use dietary methods, who do nothing. Even if they do nothing, they don't live longer with those procedures.
Oh,
but if you use dietary methods,
yuck.
Yeah, that's kind of disheartening. Anyway, go ahead.
And then if you use dietary methods, you not only live longer, you melt away your heart disease, and you should never need the procedure. Mm-hmm. So the procedure actually it could be increasing your risk, because if you put a stent in there, now you're on clot-busting blood thinners the rest of your life, which forever increases your risk of hemorrhagic stroke, and you have a foreign body in your heart. And once you undergo bypass surgery, you've got vessels now in your heart that is not as, you should say, strong as the native vessels that were there to begin with. Mm-hmm. And it's even more important for you to change your diet. So it only makes things worse. It doesn't make things better. Wow. It's a scam. Every person can, except for an emergency procedure when the person is undergoing a heart attack at the moment, I should say almost every case, not every case, but almost every case who undergoes these procedures electively would have been better off having aggressive nutrition and saving, and much better potential for a long life. Like, for example, one of my guests at my retreat this month, he was in the hospital after a mild heart attack, and they were setting him up for bypass surgery when he called me. And I said, don't have the bypass. He said, they're hovering over me, telling me I need bypass. I said, we'll document with a IMT, we'll measure your endothelial thickness, we'll get you on the right diet, you'll drop weight, your blood pressure will normalize, you'll get your blood flow back to your heart, we'll start melting away the plaque, you'll be so he flew right into San Diego. He's there right now. He's actually there right now. He's lost about 30 pounds. His chest pains are gone. He's feeling great. He's so glad he didn't have the bypass. So what I'm saying is that they railroad you into these procedures without telling you how more effective nutrition would have been than those procedures. I consider it malpractice and certainly not proper informed consent.
Wow. Now, I was just going to tell the audience that you have had a bestseller book called The End of Heart Disease, the Eat to Live plan to prevent and reverse heart disease. So from what you're saying is heart disease is reversible.
That's right. It's a reversible condition. And I'm saying wherever you are right now, if you're on cholesterol-lowering drugs or blood pressure medications, you should be able to come off those medications in the vast majority of cases and normalize your blood pressure and cholesterol without the medications. Because when your weight is normal and your blood pressure is normal and your cholesterol is normal without medications, then you're protected against heart disease. When you think you're on the drugs to get those good numbers, then you're still at high risk. It's like sweeping the filth under the rug. You think you're okay because your blood pressure's normal, but you're on medications. It means your blood pressures are abnormal if you need medications.
Sure.
And the more medications you need to control yourself, then the higher risk you're at. It's not a question of where your blood pressure runs. The question is how much medications you need to get control. That determines your risk. So I'm really advocating that people heart attack proof their bodies. And they remove the possibility of having a heart attack. And heart attacks are easy to prevent against, and people don't have to have them.
Right.
Can you tell us something about your retreats?
Well, sure. Well, people come and stay there, and most people that come there usually have some medical condition they want to recover from. They're seen by me personally, and I have a nurse there, and we have psychological counseling for people with food addiction issues, and we have aerobics in the saltwater pool, and we have a sand volleyball court for walking on the sand, and we have a gym. But most of the people there are actually people that need to be there, saving lives there. And we have 3 chefs that are phenomenal, and they give cooking classes and teach people how to make healthy food taste great. And people generally lose, as much as 20 pounds the first month they're there. And even though some people stay for a month or 3 weeks, I really encourage people to stay for 2 or 3 months. And we reduce the price for people with the longer-term stays, so we can encourage that. Because just like a person who's cocaine addicted, the longer they stay there, we find that the chance of recidivism and regaining weight goes down the longer they're away from their addictive relationships with food. And when people go to these health clubs and health spas, and they pay a lot of money and they stay a week or 2, and they're and they lose a little weight and they feel better, and they go back to their old diet and they gain it back again. They just waste their time and their money. And we're trying to keep it more reasonably priced for longer stays, encourage the longer stay. So when people get the benefit and lose 40 to 50 pounds, they go home and they keep losing weight. If they still need to lose, they keep losing, and they learn how to love this way of eating. Because I know people listening to me talk right now are thinking to themselves, yeah, but it's not going to taste as good, and I can't eat like that, and I'd rather just eat what I like, and blah, blah, blah. And that's just the food addiction story. Because your taste buds acclimate, you learn delicious recipes, the food tastes better, not worse. There's no legitimate excuse that a person needs to continue to commit suicide with food. And that's, food is the biggest addictive substance in America. So when you asked me earlier, is sugar addicting? It's like this is the biggest addiction and killing the most people than anything else across our country is people with addictive relationship with food. Because, everybody gets cancer and heart disease and strokes and dementia, which is all from what they ate.
And it's socially acceptable, too. It's a socially acceptable addiction. So
that's right.
It's not looked at the same way we would look at somebody who had a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction. So
now, Dr. Fuhrman, you're 65 years of age, I believe, and that's you correct. Look phenomenally good for your age. What is your height and weight? What is your height and weight? You're
getting personal now.
Because I think you're the model. I think you are the model. You look like you're about 5'10" and about 155 pounds.
Yeah, I'm probably closer to 145 pounds. I run around 147 and a half, around there.
Okay.
148.
So what is your BMI?
I don't know. It's funny because the BMI. They say that 70% of Americans are overweight, and that means a BMI greater than 25, but a BMI 25 isn't favorable. I have to have a BMI below 23 to be favorable. So when you use the BMI of 23 as the favorable BMI, then you classify 88% of Americans as being overweight. Most everybody's overweight.
Wow.
Yeah, my BMI at 5'10" and 145, I guess, is like 20, 21, something like that. I don't know. But in any case, we have, the point is that do you have a six-pack? When you're 65, are you lean and muscular? That's what we have to have people. Yes. We shouldn't have a big roll of fat around our waist just because we're getting older.
Now, what do you do on a daily basis you obviously eat well because your clinic has shown you and your patients how to eat with these micronutrients and different things of that nature. What do you have a set regime that you work on? Because you're traveling a lot too with traveling to go to TV and going out to the West Coast and stuff like that. So
exactly.
How do you maintain that on the road?
It's not hard. When you're committed, you just do it. Like, for example, sometimes I'm on my PBS tour and I'm in a different city every day. I like to do the show at night. The next night I'm in a different city doing a different show. So I sleep close to the airport. so I don't have much commute in the next morning to go to the next plane. And I get off the plane, I drive to Whole Foods Market. I go to the salad bar and fill up with beans and greens and onions, and I carry some things I like in my bag, or I get fruit or frozen berries or frozen cherries, or and my frozen artichokes or frozen giraffe, whatever my favorite things are, I buy it. Or maybe get some manna bread or something. So I'll go eat that food and buy enough for the next morning, do my show at night, go back to the airport early in the morning because I'm close to the airport, and then get off the plane, go straight to the Whole Foods Market or a good supermarket or something, and then get my food again. I just make it work,
Yeah.
So you advocate that we should eat raw vegetables. You say about a pound of cooked vegetables every day. Is that about
the key?
right?
Well, is that the key?
Well, it's a vegetable-based diet. I mean, most of what we eat should be vegetables, So, I want people to eat at least one big salad a day. And and obviously one nice sized tomato could weigh half a pound. So if you put in, cabbage and onion, it's probably like a pound. You're probably about right. Nice big salad at least once a day of raw vegetables. And then the time I eat my, the cooked greens and the eggplant and the cooked tomatoes and the different types of the cooked vegetable dishes, probably about a pound of the cooked vegetables too. Yeah, so I think that's approximately. But, we're talking about my typical lunch for me might be a big salad with a nut and seed-based dressing, maybe a Russian fig dressing made with tomato sauce and fig vinegar and some figs and some almonds or something like that. Or, maybe an orange cashew sesame dressing with oranges and cashew nuts and sesame seeds and lemon and some blood orange vinegar. I love that dressing. And then maybe I'll have a bowl of vegetable bean soup. Today I had a pea cauliflower soup that was really with onion. It was really fantastic, and shallots in it. It was fantastic. But usually I have some soup with lunch and maybe some fruit. And I like to, grow some of my own fruits or pick some of my own. I mean, it's like my hobby is growing fruit trees and things. So I may have fruit or some frozen fruit whipped into a dessert or something. And then for dinner, maybe have a cooked vegetable dinner. Maybe a wok Thai coconut vegetable dinner with lemongrass and and mushrooms and snow pea pods and water chestnuts. So I change it around. I have lots of fantastic recipes and fantastic desserts, and I really feel that people, if they stick with this and they experience it, they learn to love the recipes that we've developed over the last decades. It's funny because I have more than 1,500 recipes on my website, and those recipes are rated by the members, so they can pick out a dish with almost any food in it, and look at desserts and salads and soups and dressings and all types of, and they can see how they're rated by the members, which ones get the 5-star ratings and which one, So it's very easy for people to pick some things to want to make healthy food taste fantastic.
That's great. And I know we've tried a few of them, and they are really, really good. It's if people are thinking that they're not sure if they want to experiment, even trying a vegetarian recipe once a day or once a week might be a good way to introduce that kind of eating into your family.
Right. Maybe they can stop snorting cocaine once a week.
Okay. We are coming to the end of our show, unfortunately. We have so much more to ask you. We're going to ask you to come back again. How can people get in touch with you, Dr. Fuhrman, if they want to know more? Or how can they find your books?
Well, the best way is just to go to drfuhrman.com, which is drfuhrman.com. And I think to look at my retreats, it's drfuhrman.com/ETL retreat. Eat to Live retreat. But they can go hit the retreat button on the drfuhrman.com. They can find books and recipes and information about their diseases and all types of information there.
Okay, we want to thank our guest, Dr. Joel Fuhrman MD, who is a best-selling author and a national TV personality. This discussion has been so interesting and informative, Dr. Fuhrman. I hope to talk to you again and illuminate our audience some more on healthy eating.
I'm Patricia Stanford, along with my husband, Dr. Lamarr Stanford, and you've been listening to the Boomer Buzz on 90.